3.5 weeks. I was actually with my unit only a week and a half by the time I got up training out there and got to them. A week and a half. Within that week and a half, I wrote one more poem you gotta bear with. This one, I titled Alone. This is about a week before I got hit. When the busy day comes to an end, and she's cried all her tears out on a phone to a friend, she tucks the kids in and kisses them goodnight. She tells them not to worry, everything will be all right. She lies them down and wonders if she will be the one left all alone, if he will be the one that won't make it home. But she never shows her fear when they talk on the phone. During the madness and of aggressive firefight, another friend fades away by the end of the night. Thoughts of his children crying in pain because of his choices can drive a man insane. The fear is hidden deep within his eyes. The truth comes out with every tear that he cries. He writes in his letters that daddy will be all right, even though he almost lost his life that night. He doesn't want his wife to raise the children alone, but he never shows his fear when they talk on the phone. Promise that's it for poetry, guys. Sorry. Thank you. On April 7th, we were leaving. It was around 9 in the morning. Military, it was 09. We were rolling out the gate. The only thing I remember that day is having a cup of coffee. The only reason I know that is because the captain who was sitting behind me, it was the only time he ever went out with us, and we were waiting for him. So I was having a cup of joe. We got hit about 5 o'clock that evening, just north of Baghdad, a town called Zaghania. It was during the big surge in Baghdad. And our job was to patrol this riverbank that left northern Baghdad, wind up into Iran. A lot of vegetation, so a lot of the insurgents would hide in there. So we had to flush them out of that area. We didn't have a lot of different routes we can go on because of the riverbanks. The first day I went out with these guys, we had a route clearance team that went ahead of us. They found 8 daisy-chained IEDs together before we got there, luckily. About the third time I went out with them, the vehicle in front of me got hit. We got a little shooken up, they were okay. The day I got hit, we were leaving one of the forward operating bases, just right outside. And this had to be sitting there for a while. It was 3 to 4 133 artillery rounds buried underneath the asphalt. We've gone over this 100 times. So it's been sitting there for a while. Turns out there was a guy sitting in a terrace in a house. When we came by, he pulled a brick out, laid down on his stomach in a prone position. There was a tire on the side of the road. It had a special marking on it, so he knew it was that tire. When the vehicle lined up in his sights where that brick was, that's when he knew to detonate it. It blew the Humvee 20 meters. One of those up-armed, heavy Humvees. Flipped it upside down even. We slid. I saw the picture earlier. I don't know if you can get that picture back up. It's possible. If not, don't worry about it. But those that can remember the picture earlier, you saw the flames coming out and the door was open. That's about the only part you can recognize from the Humvee. That's the door that I was coming out of. That was my door. He explained a lot to me. I got that photo just when I went back to Iraq last July. I went back and flew over where I got hurt, talked to some guys that helped call the medevac, stuff like that. So if you see that door right there, that was hanging out of that door right there. One of the guys said he thought he saw me crawling out. So I like that better. It sounds tougher. But when you see that, it kind of explains some of the injuries. I was burnt 38% of my body. My head was burnt to the skull. My left arm was damaged and my legs, the torso was okay. After 2 years, I eventually amputated the left hand because it wasn't working. And it just caused some pain. We tried to get it to work, and I'm glad I did it. Now I got this really cool hand. I don't know if you guys can hear that. But we could take away that photo now, I know. It's not always easy to look at that photo and see where that came from. But just to kind of see what happened, it kind of gives you more visual. I know when I first saw it, it helped me kind of understand a little more. It took 6 months, five and a half, 6 months I was in the hospital. After I got out of the hospital, I still didn't have skin on my head. I still had a tendon sticking out of my left arm and my right leg. But I was alive and healed, and the doctors wanted me to get out of the hospital. A lot of times that helps us heal faster. But then my wife would have to do wound care on me every day. She'd get the kids off to school. I myself would take her 4 hours, and then she would take me to the hospital. I'd take her to the hospital all day for appointments. That was her life. During that time, I felt bad for my family. I felt like I did this to them, that I was a burden on them. I would pray to God to take me, that I didn't want to wake up the next day. I'm hurting my family even more. Every day they have to worry. First 2.5 years, I had 42 surgeries. Every surgery they had to worry about infection. It took 18 months just to get skin on my head. Every day, my wife had to clean it. My life was in her hands. And they all got infection in my head, and they told her there's not much they can do about it. That's the thing with burns. The infection is the higher risk than the actual burns themselves. So I just wanted to go. I didn't want to be there anymore. But there's a big transform in my life, my testimony, is I was atheist. Doesn't matter how many times you put me in that foxhole, I was still atheist. I was raised Catholic. I didn't want to believe in God because of all the wars that are caused in religion, how the different religions don't like the other religions, how you can say I'm sorry for raping or killing or hurting somebody, and then you get to go to heaven, but because I'm questioning and I'm not sure I'm supposed to go to hell, I didn't like that belief. I fought with that. But during my coma, I was in a medically induced coma for 2 weeks. And during that time, I remember images that I battled with. I was on a giant iceberg. It was quiet and calm. It wasn't cold. I was comfortable. I couldn't see anybody, but I heard voices. I didn't recognize if they were family or anything like that. I didn't see a bright light. But I heard voices telling me that I'm going to be okay and my family's waiting for me. The atheist would have said, oh my God, that's just the doctor, the lights, the surgery, all that stuff. It was the helicopter. But I truly believe I was being judged. That God saw something in me. He saw something I couldn't see. I had no idea. He saw something. He kept me here for a reason. Doctors told my wife they couldn't understand medically why I was alive. It's impossible. They needed me to wake up so they could figure out what's going on. How damaged am I inside? So I knew I was here for a reason. That helped kind of pick me up, thinking more and more about that. On a mission to find out why I'm here. What can I do? What can a one-armed, burnt guy do? I used to be the cool, tough guy, go out there, serving my country, helping others that way. What can I do now? What can one man do? God started showing me signs. People kept telling me that too. Wait, he'll show you the signs. I said, this is new to me. How do I know? I don't know what I'm looking for. What if I read it wrong? And one day, about a little over a year out, the National Public Radio, NPR, did a story on me. And afterwards, I had a positive attitude. Because at that point, I was coming through. I was seeing a light where, okay, I'm alive. I'm here for a reason. I get to see my kids grow up. Someday I'll get to hold my grandchild. I still get to go to the beach, listen to the waves. Those little things we take for granted in life. I was loving that. And because I had a positive attitude of what I've been through, people were inspired in their own lives. It made them think about life and what they had and be grateful for that. And I took that as a sign. I said, wow, God is asking me to share my story. What a great thing. I mean, one, I was puzzled because I'm a high school dropout. How am I supposed to speak to people? I don't speak proper English. I say all the time. But then I thought about the bright side, because that's what you got to do in these situations. And I thought, thank God he didn't ask me to build an ark. We all be treading water. So I went out and I started sharing my story. And I figured that is the best revenge I can ever get on the guy who did this to me. If I can go around sharing my story to help others to see life a whole other way, to show them that they can do what they can with what they have and where they're at, that they can make a difference also. If I can do this, think about what you can do. If you need to quit smoking, you're doubting yourself. You need to go back to school so you can better your job. If I can show you that everything is possible no matter what you've been through, if I can show that to you and help you get to where you want to be to better your life, then that's what I need to do. And the more people I can help, if I can help more people than that guy's ever hurt, then that's the best revenge I can ever get for those guys. Before I forget, I want to make sure, I know there's a lot of Vietnam vets in here. Thank you. If you haven't heard before, thank you. You guys stood up and made sure we would never be treated that way when you could have just said, forget it, let them suck it up and deal with it too. You made sure that wouldn't happen. You made the VA better for us. And now it's our turn to improve the VA even more. It's a great system. It's like a good fighting position. We got to constantly improve it, right? As times change, we got to constantly improve it. So that's our job now to do what you guys done for us for the next generation. Another example that I love to talk about, an inspiration to me, is my daughter Brittany. Talk about doing what you can with what you have, where you are in your situation. I was wondering what I can do. My 15-year-old daughter stepped up. We were in North Carolina. I'm in the hospital in Texas. My wife flew out to Texas. My sister came out there to help me in the hospital. My mother-in-law flew in to help take care of the kids. Our neighbors helped out. But Brittany in the house stood up as another adult. She took a higher role to help her brother and sister keep a little normalcy in that house. Make sure everybody else understands how our house runs, so it wasn't too much of a change, a shock for her brother and sister. Then when they ended that school year, they came out to San Antonio. When they came out there, again, I was still in the hospital. Brittany would get food for them. She would help them with homework. She stepped up as an adult. Texas gave her her license at 15 and a half. Then when I got out of the hospital and I was doing a little better, there's other wounded soldiers, and when you get out, you still got surgeries to do. When you go in for surgery, you got to go at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. They have families, they have little kids, they got to get to school. Brittany would stay at their house. She would help get their kids out to school when they went in for surgery, go to school herself. Now just between moving around, Brittany went to 2 different high schools. Then when I got hurt at the end of the year, she kind of went to another high school to finish off the last couple months. Then she moved to San Antonio and went to her 4th high school. Did all that stuff at 15 and a half, 16 years old. Helped all those people. She did what she could with what she had, where she was. Made a huge difference. Because of that, out of 500 kids nationwide, 2009, Brittany was the first ever military child of the year. A kid that comes from 2 parents that dropped out of high school. Blue-collar workers that have been working their tails off to provide for our kids. And what she's done. Now she's in college. She graduates next year. Psychology, of course. President of her sorority. Just still continues to impress me and amaze me. Sticking by that motto and doing what she can. Just a true inspiration to me. So that's how I got into speaking. There's another thing I do. I try to tell jokes. Most people think I'm funny. My wife does not. She said, you try living with 24/7. It gets old. The excuse of getting blown up, sorry honey, I don't remember. It's gone, I can't use that anymore. I'll find a new one. But again, it's another way to get things out there. I started doing it because of my occupational therapist. Us guys are just joking around the hospital, messing around with each other, telling jokes, harassing each other. Kind of like the guy missing both legs above the knee. We went back to Iraq that last July. And the last day out there, they had 8 of us. They take us around all over the place. And it's just really healing for us to do properly exit, the country. And the last day we were there, he talked about how he felt. He sits up in his bunk, he's trying to put on his legs, and he says, half of me feels like You can't say that in front of me. Come on, man. That's like all of you, isn't it? That's like me saying on the other hand. But because of stuff like that we harass each other, my occupational therapist kept bugging me. Oh my God, you gotta do this. And she has this really, really annoying voice. Friend Scotty here will tell you, Susie talks like this. She's always that person that's happy way too much. Like she has to go home and kick her dog or something. She has to get it out somehow. She's way too happy all the time. So she kept bugging me to do this. So finally, get her to be quiet. I said, okay. I did a little pinky swear. If you pinky swear, Susie, you better do it. I got one wife now getting home. I don't need one in therapy too. Sorry, ladies. That was a slip. I was thinking out loud again. But I made that deal. So I was out in LA to go see a doctor out there. And she introduced me to her sister. Her sister lives out there. She's in a band and everything. And she said her sister would know what place I can do comedy. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Monday night, nothing's going to be happening. Her sister called me. Told me that the Comedy Store has an open mic. That I can go try it there. So I went out. I got my 3 minutes. You know, there's like a little light on it. In the comedy world, there's a little light that'll come on the end. And it'll be like a 2-minute warning, a 1-minute warning. Tell the comic we're almost done. Well, I was waiting for that light, you know. I went with a couple of jokes I had. I'm like, where's that light? Where's that light? No, it went like a minute and a half. And the only thing I remember is a joke, a rap I wrote in high school about being constipated. That's the only thing that popped in my head right away. So I threw that out there. And of course, the guy made fun of me afterwards. Like, oh my God, that sounds so 80s. That's when I wrote it. But it's been great. I thought, wow, this is a great way not only to get my story out there for the comedy, because we all know comedy is the best way if it's honest, if it's the truth. That's the best comedy. And it is very healing, and it's another way to get my story out there. And besides that, I can help burn survivors. I started going to these conferences with burn survivors. No one knows how to approach them. A lot of them are scared to go out in public, but there's disfigurements. They don't want to be stared at. And that if I can break the ice through my comedy and get out there, I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen my twin. Based on you're laughing because you know what I'm talking about. My burning twin desire from another fire, J.R. Martinez. People mistake me all the time. I'm like, yeah, I got J.R.'s face, but I got Rob Kardashian's booty. And you think that'd be a good dancer, but they get confused. The top half's trying to salsa and the bottom, juggalo, juggalo, juggalo. They don't work well together. But if I can get awareness out there for that, to help other burn survivors, if I can tell some jokes about it, then that's going to help the next guy out there that goes out in public and somebody says, oh my God, you're a bird guy, I know this guy, JR and Bobby, these guys are crazy, da 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 da. It's just a great way to break the ice with the public. And that's, I kind of started doing that on my own. And right now I want to show you guys a video that kind of talks about the comedy and what I did last year. And the video will tell it all. And then after the video, I'd like to come out and actually do some jokes for you if you want to hear a couple.